Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Arkansas Weather Blog. We are your ticket to big weather events. Well, quieter weather than what we had last week, but things are going to get active once again. And it's not out of the realm of possibilities that we are going to have to deal with some sort of tropical system later next week. I'm recording this Wednesday, August 24th at about 8:30 in the morning. Yes, there is a chance, at least, that a tropical system gets into the Gulf of Mexico and plays some sort of role in our weather. I want to stress again that this is way out in the future. So much can change with this, but there are causes for some concern, and we need to pay attention to this for the obvious reasons and for other ones as well, because of our neighbors towards our south, Louisiana, have such a are so waterlogged right now they can't take any more rain, and a tropical system, as many of you know, is loaded with moisture. So there's lots of concerns here for the Gulf, and what you're looking at right now is the Hurricane Prediction Center, and they're putting it at this area that they're investigating, an 80% probability that this develops into a tropical feature, depression, and then into a storm, and maybe even a hurricane here. And it still has a lot to overcome on its slow progression towards the northwest as far as interaction with land, any dry air that may get involved or entrained in this. But this is 5 days out. So again, we're talking about something in the future, but I think now would be a good time to start talking about what happens with this. Does it go up the west or the east coast of Florida and turn out, or does this cross Florida and come into the Gulf of Mexico? Both options are possible. At this time, it appears the most likely option is for it to go into the Gulf of Mexico. So if there's I'd put more chances on that. So you look at what's called the spaghetti plots here, all the different types of computer models you can see out here. Oh boy, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, you see it out here. This is the spaghetti plots. And you can see in time, all these different computer models, in time, they start to, some go to the north, some go towards the south. So there's, as you would expect, the further in duration you go out in time, the more uncertainty there is. But a lot of these, you can see here, the peninsula of Florida, but a lot of these take it into the Gulf of Mexico. And again, these are all different types of computer models forecasting where this is going to go. And so there's most of them take it now across Florida, or maybe just south of Florida and into the Gulf, and then you got to wonder where it goes. Now the impact on Arkansas, let me see if I got a map here that has Arkansas. Here we go. This is the GFS. And if you take a storm system like this, a tropical system, to the Gulf of Mexico, as far as we are concerned here in Arkansas, you want to be on the west side of it to minimize the impact. That would minimize the impact for rain. That would minimize the impact for tornadoes. If you're on the eastern side, the northeastern and eastern quadrant, that exposes you to the possibility for heavy rainfall and flooding rainfall. That also exposes you to the threat for tornadoes. Now, what you're looking at here is from weatherbell.com. This is the GFS, and this is valid next Wednesday. This shows barely anything. I mean, the GFS is just showing a 1014 millibar low, broadly defined over the northeastern Gulf moving into Florida. I mean, it's got basically nothing. I mean, but the GFS is the GFS. And when I show you this, don't look at this going, oh, that's, you look at the Europeans and say, oh, that's exactly what's going to happen. No. But the placement, the timing, the strength, the intensity, it's not going to be right. But I just want to show you the other option, the European model. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. The European model has a much stronger system by far, due south of Louisiana and moving towards the northwest. So what you don't want to see is for this thing to take a path like this and come up over Arkansas. This is climatologically the time of the year, now through September, that we are prone to the remnants of tropical systems. But this option is possible, and that's why I thought I'd do a blog post saying, hey, I'm not saying this is going to happen next week, prepare yourselves, but it is possible. So let's start talking about it. And well, let's keep an eye on it. We're going to give you the latest information. This is the newest run of the European. I would, if you have to choose between the two models, the European in the long range is usually, 99 out of 100 times is going to fare better. The other thing I want to talk about here, zoom in on this. These are sea surface temperature anomalies, departures from the average. And you can see that the water here, that in the the western areas of the Atlantic, for a tropical storm to develop further into a hurricane and to gain intensity, the water temperatures have got to be quite warm. We're talking about in the 80-degree Fahrenheit range. Well, they are above where they should be for this time of the year. So there's plenty of warm water, at least here in the western portions of the Atlantic. What about the Gulf of Mexico? The Gulf of Mexico here, above average, not quite as warm as compared to average in the Atlantic, but definitely this would be favorable, the sea surface temperatures, for development and for strengthening. The good news, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but there is a patch of below average negative anomalies here along the coast of Louisiana. And that's important to watch to see if that holds up. If that track further towards the west verifies, if that even comes to fruition next week, because what has happened here is that all that rain in Louisiana from last week, you had tremendous amount of cloud cover and rainfall, and it has cooled the temperatures along the coast, which, if there's any silver lining, that would be it for Louisiana if it were to take that track. Because what would happen is you would have you could theoretically have a strong system approach Louisiana, and then it diminishes in intensity, the wind intensity, the rain. That's the other problem. It would do very little to diminish the rain and flooding impact, but at least the wind intensity would come down if that were to hold true and if that track were to happen. So again, the track here is into the Gulf of Mexico, some further west than others. We don't want the further west option. That's what we don't want. But for our neighbors to the east across Florida, that's what they want. They want to get away from them or go too far towards the east. But as far as our concerns here in the Mid-South, in Arkansas and Louisiana, we don't want that western option. Now, there's the possibility that it goes to the even extreme far western option and goes out towards Texas. That's those cards on the tip. So I don't want to cause panic is the bottom line here. That's the last thing I want to do, is to cause any sort of panic. But everybody just needs to say, hey, let's just keep checking back with the weather, see, and hopefully this thing doesn't materialize or moves away or does something to disrupt it. But it's there, and we're going to have to pay attention to it. So thank you very much for coming to the Arkansas Weather Blog. I'll keep you updated. We are your ticket to big weather events.